Get him out of here.
How does that not indicate to you, like, hey, sometimes, like, these prospects are awesome?
Donald, get back. They snatched that chain, boy. Get back. What's all gonna do about it? Popeye snatched that chain. Get back. We want that snack wrap. They got 3 flavors. Y'all got 1. Get back.
Hey, everybody. Welcome on into the Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network, presented by FanDuel. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Pinot. No Rob Watson today, but filling in is none other than Project Pat McGuire. Hope everybody's having a good day so far. Good afternoon. Starting a little bit later. Had to record a couple shows. Got the Carlos Baerga show going out at 1 o'clock today. So in 6 minutes, if you want to tune in that, I totally understand. As the Guardians get ready for a do-or-die Game 3, it is a beautiful Thursday, October 2nd, 2025. Nick, you wanted to start the show with a little something different.
Wanted to start the show with Browns. We're going to talk about Mime Sanders later in the show. I have this quote that I live by. I've been a Browns fan my entire life. Like some of my earliest memories on this earth have the Browns in it. I've covered this team professionally in some capacity since like 2018. So closing in on 10 years on that. And I've always had this philosophy. It's true this year for sure. If you're going to be bad, you might as well be entertaining. Grant Delpit, they're in London. They arrived in London, and a local TV reporter asked Brown safety Grant Delpit why people unfamiliar with American football should choose to root for the Cleveland Browns. Grant Delpit said, "We're a fun team. Cleveland is a great place. It's a lot like Miami. You should come check it out."
It's like from Major League when they're like, oh, yeah, we got uniforms and everything, man. You should come on down to the ballpark. What are some similarities between Miami and Cleveland?
There are quite literally zero.
There's a bar called the Clevelander in both. I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think it starts and ends there, and LeBron James plays.
They have a what's Jimmy Buffett? They've got a
Margaritaville.
All right, we will get to the Cleveland Browns, guys. That is a funny quote from Grant Delpit, but it is a do-or-die Game 3 for the Cleveland Guardians. Winner advances to take on the Seattle Mariners in the ALDS. Loser, maybe they can go to Miami, spend a vacation there. Jack, let's start with recapping what was a true Roctober moment. Brayan Rocchio, bottom of the 8th, opens it up with a solo shot to give the Guardians the lead. They build off of that. Quan doubles. He scores. And then Bo Naylor with a moonshot to bring in 3 more, make it a 6-1 victory for our Cleveland Guardians. We'll start with Brayan Rocchio because you have always been enrolled at Rocchio University. You've always loved the professor. And, hey, playoff risers, Brayan Rocchio fits that mold, at least the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, for sure, man. And when you're in a lineup where it's #pitch to anyone besides Jose Ramirez day, like someone's got to find a way to get the big hit, right? Because it can't be Jose Ramirez if they're going to walk him 3 times. You're going to see Jose Ramirez get walked a lot again today. We went around the room before the series started and said, who's going to be the player of the series? Who's the guy to watch? And I said it's going to be either Arias or Rocchio up the middle. Like, you're going to need one of those 2 middle infielders to come through. And Rocchio, in a huge way, talked about the advice he got from. That's the thing of when you face these bullpen arms from these divisional teams over and over and over again, you pick up on things. You get tabs like, hey, this guy likes to throw his cutter inside. He uses it like more of like a slider almost than a fastball, is what Jose said to Rocchio like a week ago or something like that. He goes up there with that in his mind, sits on it, and bam. Like that is the leadership too of Jose Ramirez really coming through. But Rocchio, I mean, what else can you do to say about the kid? Like a guy who had sky high expectations entering this year after a great postseason last year, got sent down hitting like I was in 5th grade, and then he takes the demotion with kindness, goes down, works what he needs to do, works on his swing, comes back up, and he's been on fire since.
You know, Chase DeLauder had one of the most unique Major League debuts we've ever seen. I think, 6 players have made their Major League debut in the postseason. Chase DeLauder, the most recent one, obviously, yesterday making his Major League debut. You start that first inning. Doesn't look good for the kid. It's tough out there with the sun, the wind. They mentioned the upper decks. It's different from playing in a minor league ballpark. But he comes back, makes a couple good defensive plays. One of the huge ones where he doesn't elect to throw home, realizes he doesn't have a chance, goes to third. Jose tags out the guy, and that saves a run. And that's pretty much the difference in that ball game. And some great at-bats, too. Very patient, didn't swing outside of the zone. God, it's complete opposite of John Kenzie Noel. Was patient, drew a couple walks. It was good to see for Chase DeLauder, who's getting the start again in Game 3.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing, too. Just take any human even being on the planet, if you muff that ball in the first inning, a lot of people are just having a real rainy day after that, no matter what happens. Like you said, a very tough scenario. That was somehow the brightest day in Cleveland, Ohio since like probably 2012. You can fact check me on that, but it was really dang sunny. The wind was blowing so far, and like Valera's ball might have gone 430 feet if it wasn't for the wind.
Manzardo's goes out too.
Yeah, I mean, Manziel goes out early on. Bo, who knows what the hell happens with that ball too. But for him to respond back and take those good at bats, like he hits the one, I think like 97 off the bat later in the game, doesn't get down, but a lot of positive signs. And hey, there's a reason he's sitting in the 5-hole today.
Yeah, the approach from him was honestly so good too, because he battled with 0-2 counts. I think at least two or three of his at bats at least went 0-2. Battled back to I think 3-2 on both of them, and then hit the ball hard. That's the thing too, because DeLauder could get in there, and his bat has always been the thing. They love his bat, and that's the reason why they wanted him up here so early. The glove you can teach, I guess. You know, I forget the assistant coach's name, but they brought him out there for a little crash
JT
course.
McGuire.
Yeah, JT McGuire, but you can't really, how did I
Pat
forget that
McGuire?
one? That's fucking crazy. But you can give him a little crash course, but nothing's going to prepare you for the sun right there and the wind too. But great debut from the kid.
There were a couple questionable decisions for AJ Hinch. The main one that a lot of people are looking back on retrospect was electing to pinch hit for Riley Green. You know, a lot of people get on Stephen Vogt for being obsessed with the platoon, or excuse me, like being the opposite side. Platooning.
Yep.
And in this case, it was AJ Hinch elect to go from arguably their best hitter in Riley Green, 30+ home runs, the RBIs, triple digits, to elect to pinch in for him in that moment. I bet you if he could wake up and redo that, he'd keep Riley Green in the game.
I don't know,
Would've been the
to
same
be
result, in
honest
my
with
opinion.
you. Like, it's kind of like you got to think of what got you here throughout the whole entire year, and that's the thing. Like, that wasn't a new concept for them. Like, they call Jahmai Jones the lefty killer. He's kind of like their David Fry in a way. Like, the guy who pinch hit for him, who's had a great season, probably hitting 270. Like, he's a very good baseball player. Who just didn't happen to work out for him yesterday. Like, if that's your prerogative and that's what you've done to get where you got, I get it. Would I have pinch hit the best player on my team? Absolutely not. But if that's the thing they've done all year long, like they're not going to shy away from it, especially up in a series. But yeah, I don't necessarily agree with
If
that.
yesterday was game 3, elimination game, would they have pinch hit him though?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't
either.
think you can.
And that's the thing too, is like we talk about process with the Browns all the time, and we talk about it with the Guards as well. Just because it's a different game, like it's still the playoffs, doesn't mean just because it's game 2 and not game 3 doesn't mean that that's still the right decision. He was getting absolutely burned up in the Detroit radio stations up there.
Yeah.
They were furious because at a certain point, like we talked about the 6 All-Stars that the Tigers had. Riley Green is an All-Star. At a certain point, you go down with your best guys, in my opinion. Yeah, Tim Herron doesn't line up well, but he's going to get a fastball in there at some point. Tim's not going to be able to throw sliders the whole time, and if he does, you take the walk. Riley will take the walk. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Tim Herron had some big balls on him
Big
yesterday,
balls,
that's
man.
for sure.
So did Tanner Bybee. Early people,
That first inning was massive.
underreported part of yesterday's game was Chase DeLauder with whatever happened, and I know it was windy out there, and that fly ball in center field. But for Tanner Bybee to bail him out of that, and then to go into the dugout and like tell him like I've got your back, like that was such a big moment in that game, and I really think that's ultimately what gave the Guardians a chance at staying alive as deep as they did into that game. So yesterday was poetic. Like if today could be similar, I mean, we're set up for a fun afternoon.
And the thing too is like it's such a stark contrast of when Tanner had that blow up right against the Tampa Bay Rays. I think that was in the middle of August, maybe, where he's screaming and yelling at people in the dugout. For him to be able to turn the page and know that he is kind of the vet now, to go up to the rookie making his MLB debut when he wasn't necessarily the leader that he probably should have been in that moment earlier in the season, to see him come up to Chase and be like, just flush it, move on, we're fine, was awesome.
I think you also, with Bybee, a little bit got to start getting ready to form a narrative. And not that he had an elite season by any means. Probably gave up about 10 to 15
start
more
a dialogue
meatballs
here?
than he wanted to throughout the season. But when it's 2 years in a row that you come out in a back against the wall, dire straits scenario, and you get the job done. I know they didn't win the game last year against the Yankees, but he pitched great, kept him in the spot to win that game. Like, that contract might be worth it. And Gavin Williams is getting a real similar one that probably has a couple zeros in it in the offseason.
Yes, indeed.
Well, it all comes down to today, Game 3, Cleveland Guardians versus the Detroit Tigers. Winner advances to the ALDS to take on the Seattle Mariners. We'll dive into that game, but first I got to tell you about our friends at Fairway Ford. Fairway Ford is the biggest Ford truck dealership in the entire state of Ohio. They have the largest selection of Ford F-150s and Super Duty trucks, and they won't be beat on price by any other Ford dealers. Don't let a short drive to Canfield prevent you from saving thousands of dollars on your new dream vehicle. Over 500 vehicles in stock on their lot. We had the opportunity to go a few months ago. Absolutely beautiful. So many vehicles to choose from. The prices are tremendous, and the people are just as great. Fairway Ford, the largest inventory of new Ford trucks, lowest pricing, and same hometown level of service. Scan that QR code now or go get the website and visit fairwayfordohio.com. That is fairwayfordohio.com. slate.com. All right, Jack. Season comes down to today. Game 3, Guardians versus the Detroit Tigers. Slade Ciccone on the mound for us. Jack Flaherty for the Detroit Tigers. What does Slade Ciccone have to do to get us to advance?
A lot. You know, when Cade Smith goes out and throws 50 pitches over the last 2 days, and Hunter Gaddis already looked a little bit fried in the arm yesterday after going out there, your top 2 bullpen arms are limited at best today. I think you'd be foolish to rule out anyone as a bullpen arm when your season's on the line, but it would take a lot for them to throw more than 15 pitches each, I would say. You know, at most. You're going to need Slade to work a little bit today. I think there's definitely a scenario where Pat, we talked about before the show, we're big Survivor guys. They might try and flush the idol, go Slade like once, 1.5 times through the Tigers lineup, flip it off to Cantillo, maybe say, hey, AJ, will you do it again with the platoons? Will you take out Carpenter or Riley Green and put in Jahmai Jones or Andy Ibanez? Like, I could see that being a world, but yeah, I mean, if you're Slade, like, you're going to have to rely on what's gotten you here all year long, which is throwing strikes. Like, when Slade's at his best, when he is limiting base runners, like getting ground ball outs, like just kind of a better Ben Lively almost in a way. Like he just has to be himself today, not try and play hero. He's not going to have 10 strikeouts. It's not going to be the prettiest of all time. He's going to give up a leadoff double, piss missile into a gap once. He's going to have to get out of it. He's a very solid pitcher, but he's not a guy who you go on Baseball Savant and there's a bunch of crazy colored red boxes like, wow, this guy's stuff is different. There's a lot of blue, actually. Yeah. But hey, he's a competitor. He's a guy who gets fired up. Nick, you talked about it today. Always when he's on the mound, you get a big boom after a big out. That gets the guys going in the playoffs.
For sure.
Yeah, and that's why I'm like very optimistic about Slade starting today, is because I think like you need somebody that's a little bit nuts in the playoffs, and you've had that with your first 2 starters. Like Gavin Williams goes about it a little bit differently. He's usually quieter, more locked in, and then you see some of the emotion in the later innings of the game. Tanner Bybee's got like a little Trevor Bauer in him, in the sense of like you could tell at times when things aren't going good, he's like quite literally fighting himself on the mound, but then when things are going well, he's, you know, looking into the dugout, firing up the boys to go score some runs. Slade Ciccone fits that same exact mold where he will get this team fired up, and if he's able to have a clean couple innings in this game, like the offense has to help him. I also think like the first inning today, like the first 6 outs of this game are going to be paramount, because if you could jump to an early lead, you're going to be feeling so much better about the prospect of what Ciccone's going to give you. Inversely, if he can't get through that first inning, you know what it feels like being a fan of this team and a fan of this offense trying to play from behind. So I'm like going to be so laser focused on the first 6, maybe even 12 outs of this game.
And Nick, I think especially too, when you look at how many times on the internet have we loaded up the Bird app this year and gone on there and said, why did you trade Josh? You can't take 30 home runs and 100 RBIs out of your lineup when you're the worst hitting team in baseball, right? If Slade goes out there and does something today, it makes it all worth it, right? Like, this is the kind of start where by no means did Slade have a bad regular season. He had a great last 2 months, actually. He was injury-prone early on and kind of struggled to get going, and eventually got to that point where Nick mentioned middle of the year, he has that great start against Houston, kind of get us back in the wild card race, things start to turn back around. Like, look at Lane Thomas last year. Lane Thomas came over at the deadline, and he sucked. Everyone in Cleveland hated him. He hit well below 200. Like, you gave up Clemmy and Tania for this guy, and he barely can even be in your lineup. No one remembers that because he had a massive grand slam in Game 5 of the ALDS last year. Like, you can just so define your legacy in Cleveland and start moving forward as a top of the rotation arm. Like, this really could be a career changer for Slade.
Well, to no surprise, today's lineup looks a lot similar to yesterday's lineup, not the Game 1 lineup in which they lost. Stephen Kwan, of course, left field at number 1. Then you go Valera, Jose, Manzardo, DH, and in the cleanup spot. Chase DeLauder again, center field. He bats 5th, followed by Arias, Naylor, CJ Kafis, and last night's hero, Brayan Rocchio.
Yeah, my one only change I would make is I would flip Gabby and DeLauder, probably just because I love – I think one thing AJ Hinch does great is he's so good at like breaking up his lefties and his righties, which makes it a lot harder for a team who has guys like Sobrowski who are expected to pitch big innings to figure out when you're going to match in that lefty. Like, there's a couple of streaks in there we can go, okay, like lefty, lefty, lefty. Maybe that's where you'll see a certain guy out of the bullpen for them. And I don't know. I think Arias is one you got to get going today. I think Gabby's going to have a really big day. He's been struggling for a bit. I think he's looked lost in translation at the plate a little bit for the last couple of games, and he's a guy who, with that power, all it takes is one flick of the wrist, and he can poke one out the other way.
And I feel the same way with Quan. Like, Quan has to,
parlay.
Like, dude, like, he's gotta get a hit today. Yeah. It's that simple. It's been too long. This series has been so bad for him. He's had success against Jack Flaherty, I believe. So, like, that's gotta That's got to come true.
No, and Nick, you made a great point too. I was gonna say one thing about Steven Kwan is when you end the regular season on that 2-for-24 slide or whatever it was, didn't get a hit in game 1. Yeah, you're up a couple of runs. I think it was only just 2-1 at the time, but that double he hit in the 8th inning yesterday was, like, I think just for his confidence to get going again, like that sometimes is like the hey, okay, we're good, we're back that you needed. Like I feel so much better about him today after that.
Stephen Kwan, 4 for 16 in his lifetime against Jack Flaherty, 250 average, 2 RBIs, 1 strikeout. Other notable ones: Jose Ramirez, 7 for 27, a 259 clip against Jack Flaherty. Brayan Rocchio, 3 for 9, 333 clip. CJ Kayfus, just 1 for 3. Kyle Manzardo, not too good, 1 for 9, and then George Valera, 2 for 5, a 400 average and a home run against Jack Flaherty.
I think most of those games were in Detroit too.
Yeah, Valera had that like big hit up the middle. Yeah. I was at that game. Yeah.
Well, let's flip it over for against Slade Ciccone for the Tigers. Kerry Carpenter, 1 for 2 against Slade Ciccone in their career. Spencer Torkelson, 2 for 6, and the best average against Slade Ciccone, it's Devin, right?
Dylan Dingler.
Dylan Dingler?
Yeah.
I apologize.
Former Mr. Ohio for baseball.
Local kid, man. Yeah. Don't let him do you in. In a pivotal game 3, don't let him be the one that does you in.
Yeah, they also, I think they took Meadows out of the top spot too, I think was a big move, and put Glaber back up top. Glaber's a guy who's had postseason success against us before. Like, he always worries me a tiny bit, but it's simply gonna come down to you got 3 guns on both sides. You have Jose, Manzo, and Kwan on one side. The other side you got Carpenter, Torque, and Green. Like, who's gonna show up out of those 6 guys? That's going to tell you a lot about how this contest goes.
Yeah, what's funny about it too is like I was on Detroit Sports Talk Radio this morning, and they're asking me the same questions that we would ask like a guest about the Guardians. Like, where's the offense going to come from? Like, they're bellyaching about the same thing. Like their issues are the same issues we got.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I think when you look past, like, they have some more, like, gaudy numbers, I would say, in the lineup, just because they have bats who, they don't platoon quite as often as us. Like, the more games you play, like, yeah, you can sneak up to 15 home runs if you get 140 games, even if you're not that good sometimes. Like, I think Wensil Perez scares me a little bit, but really outside of those 5, like, I don't think that lineup has a ton. Like, you've seen the bottom part of the lineup they've mowed through pretty quickly, besides Javier Baez in 2025, who decided for the first time in damn near a decade, like, I'm a good baseball player. I don't know, he's hitting 571 so far in the series, I think. Like, where the heck did that come from? I know it's been an okay year for him, but...
Yeah, I mean, but, like, to have the resurgence of Javi Baez, plus all of these other guys, Kerry Carpenter, Riley Green, all of them, and for them to not have won the division is so crazy to me, too, because... it's kind of like the Guards last year. It's kind of the inverse. Like, I know we've talked about this.
It is the inverse. You trade Bieber and Flaherty. That's the difference.
We talked about it, like, up and down. But honestly, at the same time, for this team to not be in the 1 or 2 spot that they would have been in the playoffs is so crazy to me.
It's wild. This team is 1 game away from the ALDS. Just
crazy.
Like, look at where we were a month ago. Not even. Like, this is. I think it is the lowest batting average ever. We popped below the last game of the 1906 White Sox. Like, it literally is the worst offense to ever go to the playoffs. And you don't have like a big name. If there's baseball fans out in LA, they don't know what Tanner Bybee and Gavin Williams look like. Like, they've probably heard of him once or twice or seen a box score.
What is a Daniel Schneemann?
What is a Daniel Schneemann? The country's wondering.
Dude, I was throwing a fit about this morning, and I don't know why. Like, it took me to the 3rd game today. I do know why. But with these start times, because like the Guardians are the most exciting team, not just in baseball right now, but in sports. Like, if you think about it, NBA is not going on. NFL is kind of slow out the gate. College football is whatever this season. The Guardians are the story in sports right now. The way that they were able to delete that 15.5 game deficit in the division, and the fact that you're playing the same team that you defeated that deficit against in a round 1 wild card best of 3.
You played them last year in the playoffs.
You lost the first game. You beat them last year in the playoffs. You won Game 2, they won Game 1. No team has ever won Game 3 after losing Game 1. Like, they have a chance to make history again today, and it's buried at 3 o'clock in the middle of a workday
on the Food Channel.
They just don't know how to market. And I get that it's a business, and I get that they will never put LA or New York or Boston in a day game like this. But at some point, you've got to start marketing your own product to your own people, and you're failing to do that by disguising this game today. Like, the fact of the matter, like, Gavin Williams, probably one of the best starting pitchers remaining. If you ask the common baseball fan, have you ever watched Gavin Williams pitch? They'd probably say no.
They'd say who, first of all.
No, they would
but
say
then
who.
The second thing, too, is like, I'll never forget when they put the Guardians versus the Astros in, I think it was 2017, at 12:37 p.m.,
I was on a retreat. I was so mad.
Are you kidding me with this shit? Because like the Guardians,
that was getting cookie started, right? I know the exact game you're talking about.
A lot of people made a lot of
went down 2-0.
There was a lot of talk about the attendance numbers too. It's only 26,000 people in the park. So here's the thing too: is like we didn't have these dates set in stone yet either. We weren't planning on coming back from 15 and a half games. So it's not like an ALDS game that you could have planned out ahead of time. Let alone having 3 other games on the slate that day that pushes you to 1:08 p.m. Kind of a difficult ask, if you ask me. I'm pretty proud. Like the fans showed up. They were a little bit late arriving, but they showed up yesterday.
I was gonna say too. First of all, baseball is an inherently boring sport. I can admit that as a massive baseball fan, right? So I think you can put 2 baseball games on television at the same time. But like, look at the first round of the playoffs of every other sport, because excluding football. I believe football, they're pretty good at not putting 2 on at the same time because it's America's sport again. But like NHL playoffs, first round, you're getting 2 games at least at the same time. NBA playoffs, you're usually getting like half of a game at the same time. Like you play one half, the other one starts. Like you could stack a little bit or start it at 6 o'clock and roll 2 at 6 and 1 at 9 or something. It's not that crazy.
Well, we can thank the Reds for sucking and letting the Dodgers make quick work of them. Otherwise, well, they'd be playing right now, matter of fact, at 1 o'clock. But we get a little bit of buffer moving to 3 o'clock because of that. Well, we're obviously in on the Guardians on FanDuel Sportsbook. Vegas, they're in on the Guardians minus 130 on the money line. We'll obviously get into our FanDuel parlay of the day, which we bet on the Cleveland Guardians game today against the Detroit Tigers. But we're going to take a break. When we get back, flipping over to the Browns. Sheduer Sanders making waves by saying nothing. You don't hear that too often. We'll talk about that when we get back right here on The Big Factor. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not a mime. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to The Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network, presented by FanDuel. Ryan, Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Pannone, and Project Pat. Before we talk about Sheduer Sanders, the Cleveland Browns, got to tell you about our friends at Garage Beer. Garage Beer comes in just 2 flavors, classic light lager, as well as that classic lime. No frills, no bitterness, no IPAs. It's just beer the way you want beer to taste, and that is beer-flavored beer. Scan that QR code now or go give their website a visit, drinkgaragebeer.com, to find local retailers who sell garage beer near you. Again, that is drinkgaragebeer.com. You know, you see something new in Cleveland every day. It seems like.
Unbelievable, dude.
This is a new one. Sheduer Sanders, if you haven't seen it, you're living under a rock. Well, he pretended to be a mime when he got asked about Joe Flacco remaining the backup quarterback despite being benched for Dylan Gabriel. Sheduer Sanders remains the third-string quarterback, and he had a lot to say without saying any words, Nick.
Could I be honest? Like, this is one of my favorite like Browns moments ever.
Added to the book.
Ever. Like, this is getting added to the book for sure. This is up there with, like, dude, like, this is up there. Like, this is really funny. And the fact that everybody getting mad about it is like making it even funnier. Now, I do think that there is something to be said. I got into it on the radio with Nick Wilson last night about this pretty good. And I think his point is sound, that there's something to be said, whether you think that this is funny, whether you think that this is really bad, there's something to be said that when he arrived in Berea, Ohio, the Browns probably gave him a bit of a manual where they said, you need to do this, this, and this for us to view you as a franchise quarterback. You need to fall in line with a lot of what we want you to do and clean up a lot of the off the field stuff. That's why you don't see Sheduer Sanders doing his own podcast anymore. You don't see him doing any podcasts anymore. When he does meet with the media, he's usually pretty smiley, pretty short. He says what he needs to, and he's about his business. So this yesterday probably gives a feather in the cap to the people in Berea who said, see, this is why we can't do it with this guy. This is why this guy's too immature. Yeah. This guy's got some growing up to do. I don't see it that way, though, because he's a third string quarterback. Like if Sheduer Sanders was starting, I don't think we would have gotten Mime Sanders yesterday. Like I think we would have gotten an actual answer out of him. And this also comes off the heels of the Rex Ryan crash out, where Rex Ryan pretty much took all Shedeur said earlier this week was that he's ready to play. And if you look at some of the quarterback play in the league, it's pretty bad. And he thinks he could be better than that. It was very innocuous. It was very innocent. Rex Ryan freaked out about it though. And Rex Ryan almost made it seem as if he got this information when he said, if I know the whole league knows that Shedeur's standing there with his arms crossed, he's not sitting in the front in team meetings, all of this stuff. That's why you get Mime Sanders yesterday. So I really didn't mind it. I actually thought it was hilarious. I think it's a kid having fun. I think it's a kid that's really in a crappy situation. Can we say that? Like, I think Shedeur kind of thought that Cleveland gave him an avenue to get on the field the soonest. And the fact that the Flacco thing took a little bit, now it's going to be Dillon Gabriel for a good bit, and he might not get his crack. Like, I'm sure Shedeur is kind of hurting deep down a little bit. Like, this kind of stinks. So the fact that he's able to smile and have a little bit of fun and be Mime Sanders, like, I really didn't mind it. I actually thought it was a little bit funny.
It just blows my mind how we're months removed from the draft, and people still can't comprehend that his trajectory, is that even a word? His trajectory of his career was going to be different because he didn't get drafted in the first round. He wasn't a premium pick. He ended up being a 5th round pick, and he's going through what every single 5th round pick does. You wait your turn. It's not a difficult concept. And I don't care about Sheduer Sanders being a mime. I thought it was funny too. Like, okay, does it affect anything? Not necessarily. Are the optics great? No. Does it kind of, paint a narrative? It's confirmation bias. If you didn't like him, you hated this. If you did like him, you thought it was a joke. That's how it goes. But like, I just can't stand the thing about Sheduer Sanders is absolute morons, and Robert Griffin III is like the poster child for it, of still claiming that the NFL blackballed Sheduer Sanders. Why? Like, I don't understand how you can still think that. The Cleveland Browns, he was a 5th round draft pick. He's going to start this year. If I had to place money, he'll start a game for the Cleveland Browns. Like, that's probably going to happen at some point. Like, can we just stop this talking about Sheduer Sanders as if he was that number 2 overall pick?
And then, like, people, you mentioned, like, it gave his detractors, like, the "see told you so." Like, those people were out in droves yesterday because it's immaturity and franchise quarterbacks don't do this and all of this stuff. It's like, guys, you ever listen to some of them Tom Brady availabilities back in the day? Dude. He would straight sound off on the media. How about like locally? And I know that like this is such soapbox for me. I know and have talked with and have worked with a lot of people that covered Bernie Kosar and Bill Belichick and those Browns teams that were really good. If Bernie didn't like something that he was asked, it was not a pleasant reply. Same thing with Bill. Newsflash. So, like, this is nothing new. It's just this new age of social media where you do something like this and everybody goes crazy. But I think you saw, like, even last night, like, Deion Sanders weighed in on this thing with a bunch of laughing emojis, and he said, "My son, you did that." Like it's funny. It's jokes. He's the 3rd string quarterback. And like at the end of the day, they were trying to ask him questions about Dillon Gabriel to spin something else. And I'm not saying that like the exact, Ashley Baystock and Spencer German who posted those videos were trying to do that. But whatever he said to them would have been misconstrued somehow, some way about Dillon Gabriel.
He's 23 years old.
Yeah.
And that's the funny thing too, is like, this is such a different world from like that Bernie and Bill thing that you're talking about too, because streamers, like I consider Shedeur like a part-time quarterback, part-time streamer, to be honest with you, because this is what just kids do nowadays. Like they do whatever would look funny on a camera, and it's not like some deeper meaning or whatever. If it gets a laugh for 30 seconds on a fucking stream, fine. That's what Shedeur was doing. He was just having fun. It's not even a big deal. For people like Rex Ryan, first of all, Rex Ryan, get your teeth sorted, because that is the craziest thing I've ever seen.
I don't understand how people continually let like high-profile people like Rex Ryan, calling him high-profile honestly sounds bad anyway. But like you let him go on looking like that with a fake tan.
Yeah. Also, it's much more of a statement on the worldwide leader, but they put out anybody on those channels. That's what they call them, fellas. But like that's the thing, is like Rex Ryan, he'll say fucking anything on television now. And they put the fight between Peter Schrager and Ryan Clark as well. Like people just say anything these days. I don't understand why Shedeur doesn't get that same treatment. You know what I mean?
It's just really funny. That's the thing. It's like Nick touched on this. Well, you all did, but it's very funny. Like if you're getting mad about a 3rd string quarterback not talking when your football team sucks.
I know.
Like all
The
our
Browns
stats are
like,
terrible.
Here's
We
the
have
thing.
10,000 things to figure out, and you're worried because the third string quarterback, who's a 65 overall in Madden, is going.
Yeah.
The Browns,
like, who cares?
The Browns are inherently a fucking joke.
Yeah.
Not inherently, they are a fucking joke. They just are.
Yeah.
Like they are.
It's just I'm worried about my 5'4" quarterback playing good football across the pond. I don't need to be
And
sitting
he's
here.
answering questions about how another quarterback is miming. Like,
It's
By the way,
just
real
maddening.
quick, did you guys see the Dylan Gabriel quote yesterday?
So don't tell me you're buying into he took a shot at Shedeur.
what did he say? I didn't see
What
it.
did he say? I didn't
Give
see
me
it.
a fucking
Yeah, I
break.
Let me pull up. Let me
Holy
pull up
shit,
the
Nick,
No, I
don't
want to
do
be
this.
enlightened.
quote.
Let us form an opinion for ourselves.
Quote. You wait for the perfect time. You're
That's a
gonna
shot.
wait a whole lifetime. So for me, I've always been ready. Dylan Gabriel on starting this week in London.
It's a good quote, and he's right. You can't wait for a
bar.
perfect time. Oh my God, are we really gonna think that he took a shot about his perfect timing?
What's the
Yeah,
old,
no, he
what's
did.
the old
Yeah.
Mike?
No, he didn't.
What's the old Mike Tomlin adage? Two's a pattern. He's done it.
yeah,
He's done it twice now.
true.
He's done it twice now. The subtle
it's like-
shade. The subtle shade. If the old Mike Tomlin quote,
clock.
twice is a pattern, man. Like you did it with the entertainers versus competitors thing, and you were able to throw that one right under the rug and be like, nothing. I didn't mean that. I meant it. It's a shot at the media, and then
like,
you
there's no such
drop
thing
the,
as great
you drop
timing.
the
You don't
perfect
honestly.
time.
You don't
Yeah.
honestly. You don't
That's
honestly
pretty
believe
close.
that. You don't
We're-
honestly believe that.
We're
do you?
Yes.
I don't know that it's a shot. I don't know that it's a shot. I have to say, I don't know that it is. I do have to say, we're flying awfully close to the sun here.
We're at least like we're Jose in game one. We're straddling the line a little bit. You know, we don't know which way we're going yet, but it ain't dead.
Oh,
my
good
God.
gravy.
Because like there's so many words you could use there. You know, like you don't have to say perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect time.
funny thing,
how
too-
about like a great situation?
Great
like
situation.
you can pull out an encyclopedia and find any way to rephrase. it.
guarantee
Sometimes you
you
get
the
thrown
locker
into a
room-
baptism by fire. You can word it a billion ways.
I guarantee the locker room wants Shedeur more than Dylan, though.
I don't know about that.
I really do think so. Just because, like, I think kind of like the Aura argument. Like, it's more of a pre-draft thing.
Like a
We were
popularity
Yeah,
thing.
And even,
popularity
like-
thing. And I think he would just be great.
If you like, you're seeing like videos from the preseason of Shedeur like slightly overthrowing Luke Floria down the sidelines in a ball that like you didn't even throw great, and Floria makes a great grab. And on the sidelines, they're like, "Oh, did you see that throw?" Like just like the video, like the mic'd up they released. Like I do think some of them want him in at some point.
I'm getting sick of it. I don't. To think that's a shot is outrageous. to me.
I mean, I don't. Again, I don't know that it's a
Choose
shot. But twice is a pattern, and we're flying awfully close to the sun here. Like one more, then you say in sport three, you do that 3 times, and people are gonna be having their way.
What will we say? What's going to be? Can we take little betting guesses on what's going to be next, though? Because we got the entertainers comment, then we got a perfect timing.
time.
What does he throw next?
I don't know. I don't
It's
even
going to be
know.
like subliminal.
No, it won't be. It won't be. That's absurd to me. People are absolutely crazy, and they just look for every angle to make something a story. And I get it. Shedeur brings numbers. He's a polarizing figure, but it's like at some point, like, can we just realize he was a 5th-round draft pick? He'll get a chance to play. This isn't like the one thing
Won't
when
be
they
perfect
say
timing,
he's getting blackballed. It's like you have to have
Yeah.
room temperature IQ to truly believe that. And unfortunately, a lot of people, big media people, RG3 specifically, are coming out and saying that. And I hope it's all for clicks, because if not, then I'm worried for his family. All right, let's take
He
a
took a
break.
couple
When we
hits
get
in the
back.
day. Yeah.
Actually, we don't even need to take a break.
The
but
thing with RG3 too is like he's, and it's kind of the same thing with Rex Ryan. Like Rex Ryan was a loudmouth as a coach. Like
Yep.
Rex Ryan talked his way out the league. That's why that
It's true.
ESPN job was sitting there waiting for him, because they knew he'd be good on TV. So like some people are just inherent yappers, and Dylan Gabriel's not, which is why I kind of think I don't know.
I mean, if you want to know how much of an asshole Rex Ryan is, he took Mark Sanchez to an AFC Championship game, and he did not really strive in the NFL. I don't think he ever got another head coaching job.
Yeah, butt fumble.
Or did he go to Buffalo after the Jets,
did.
or was that before?
It was after.
It was after?
Buffalo was it forever.
Oh, that was it.
Yeah.
I watched Rex
Who was his
Ryan.
quarterback? Like Fitz?
It was
Kyle
2016,
Orton?
dude. Like, so Fitz, could he have even gotten his hands on Tyrod Taylor?
Oh, man.
Not in
Oh,
16.
maybe.
I don't think.
know. Maybe Kyle Orton.
Kyle
I don't know.
Orton.
All right, Jack.
2016. Rex Ryan. Let's see.
Oh,
We got to
Nathan
get out of here
Peterman.
soon, but we got to recap some games and then do our FanDuel parlay of the day. We start here. The Reds, they stink. They didn't belong in the playoffs. They're nowhere near close to the Dodgers. Not that a lot of teams are.
There's gonna be some show in like Utah tomorrow. I was like, yeah, the Cleveland Guardians are in the playoffs. They got knocked out. It's gonna be the same thing tomorrow. They're gonna roll one of those.
And I'd give them a tip of my cap and say you're correct,
Do they
sir.
do sports talk in Utah? I imagine.
Well, they got the Mammoth now too. It's the Jazz and the Mammoth. They're starting to break into
a lot of those
sports.
cities,
Just like
Miami.
Utah, just like Miami.
Yeah, a lot of the cities that don't have like big time sport, like we're beyond blessed, like with 3 major sports teams, but a lot of the cities that don't have just
imagine
like
if you're
one,
from Mississippi and
or,
it's just
like
like you watch
Mississippi,
Mississippi
Ole
State
Miss.
football.
Well,
Like
the
you
thing
go
is,
4-8
they-
every single
like,
year.
They just talk like national sports all day. So like they probably like genuinely
No, they always sit on the Paul Feinbaum
they're
line and
talking
just-
Dodgers, they're talking Paul Feinbaum
Yeah.
deciding to be a politician or whatever. Like that's the kind of stuff that they have to do when there's no local. They do have it. It's just all national. Even Columbus, like if you go to Columbus, like they talk Buckeyes and then it's just really
How much
a
jackets
little-
do they do down there?
Not much. I mean, they've got like
They're also never good.
They got like Rupp, you know, they got the guys that can do jackets, but for the most part, it's a little Browns gets sprinkled in. It's a lot of Buckeyes, and then really just national talk, sports talk.
All right, Jack, we get a Game 3 Yankees-Red Sox. Yankees win. They force a Game 3 in the Bronx. 2 rookie pitchers going on the mound for these teams. Connolly early for the Red Sox. Cam Schlittler for the New York Yankees.
Yeah, Schlittler kind of shitter on us earlier in the year. I have not seen the other kid pitch, to be honest with you, so I can't give you a good breakdown of the starters in that game. But I don't know, it's tough. I mean, like you'd think at home it's probably going to be a better look for New York, but well, I mean, with Garrett, it's almost that series is a lot like ours, but like a microcosm of it, kind of like Garrett Crochet going on the mound. Like obviously they have Peyton Tolley in that great rotation, like the Red Sox rotation. Actually, no, so it is kind of like this. It's a lot like this series. That's actually what I'm going to settle on, but I don't know, man. With that, it kind of felt like the Red Sox season ended when Roman Anthony went down, and like obviously maybe they could get him back in a couple weeks if they stay alive. I don't know, but I picked the Red Sox to win the series before him. I'm gonna switch to the Yankees today.
All right, Cubs, Padres, any thoughts?
I would like the Padres to win this, to be honest. I would prefer for San Diego to win. I don't know what happens though.
I think the thing about the Cubs is too, though, is like not that we need to like hate them overly and like bring them up all the time, but like
I do.
I don't care that they sucked for the last 10 years. Kind of like I want them to always suck. I hope they never win again. I hope they never make the NLDS again. I hope they never make the NLCS again. Like fuck them. I hope they lose. They ruined our lives.
All right, shout out Adam. Shout out Adam in the YouTube chat who says Rex Ryan is a mushroom head. All right, guys. Jack, we have to hit a bet.
Yeah.
Guardians need to win, and we needed a FanDuel parlay today. Before we do that, Nick, why don't you tell us all about the great app that is FanDuel?
Absolutely can't wait to put in our guards parlay on FanDuel. Also, some Thursday night football tonight, like probably right after the guards. You'll have a couple minutes to decompress, dust off that FanDuel app, and get some bets in for Thursday night football. Rams, Niners. FanDuel's got an offer for you that you don't want to miss this NFL season. New customers can bet just $5. Get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. You pick a bet, you bet $5. If it wins, you're going to unlock $300 in bonus bets to use all across the FanDuel app. You know us, we build parlays on the program every single day, but you could check out some player props, ride the live lines, whatever your style. FanDuel has you covered. The NFL season, it's here. The only question now, are you ready to play? Visit FanDuel.com/bigplay to download the FanDuel app today and get started. You got to be 21 plus and present in select states. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit is required. Bonuses are issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions do apply. See full terms, sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG.
All right, Jack, game 3, winner go home. FanDuel parlay of the day, winner go home. Let's take it away.
Guys, it is do or die for your Cleveland Guardians. Say, Nick, you know I'm going to ask you this to start us off. You have to in a game like today, facing elimination. What do we say to the god of death?
Not today.
Not today, we know. Let's go. Cleveland Guardians money line with the season on line. You know they got to get it. Slay Ciccone going on the bump. Steven Kwan and Jose Ramirez. Games like this, Ryan, your big players have to show up facing elimination. Steven Kwan and Jose Ramirez, 2 combined hits in today's game. CDL Drizzy. CDL Drizzy. Second game now. This kid's due for a hit. Got on base with the walk yesterday. Chase the Lauder, getting that first career major league hit today. The JMU alum. And last but not least, the guy who stole well over 30 bases, the 32-year-old. You know he's going to get walked. He's going to get put on base today. There's a guy who's going to get on base. It's going to be Jose Ramirez all day long. He's gonna swipe it back in games like this, a la Dave Roberts 2004. When you need it most, you go to your guy for the stolen bases. Plus 925 in the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Guardians money line. Steven Kwan and Jose Ramirez, 2 combined hits. Chase Slaughter recorded hit. Jose Ramirez to have a stolen base. Guys, Jack Flaherty on the mound. Captain Jack. Sit on the thumbtack. Fleetwood
Detroit
Mac.
Tigers pack.
Fleetwood Mac.
It don't matter. Guards in 3. Let's do it, baby. Come on.
All right, guys.
Detroit Tigers pack.
Before we get out of here, Game 3, winner take all. Winner moves on to the ALCS
Guardians move on
to take on to the Seattle Mariners. Give me a final score prediction.
Guardians 6-2.
Guardians 4-1.
Guardians 4-3. Go down 3-0 early.
I was going to say 4-3. So I'm riding 4-3 with you as well. All right.
Should we go
appreciate
exact?
Appreciate everybody tuning in to the Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Shout out FanDuel. Shout out Fairway Ford. Shout out Garage Beer.
Here we
We'll
go,
be back
fellas. Let's do
tomorrow.
it.
Same people, same time. Until then, have a wonderful rest of your day.
This is what I do.
Go Browns. Go Guardians. Peace out. Enjoy the game.